You have only experienced 25% of Sonic 3. It's awesome to discover all the Knuckles exclusive areas, and then play as Tails for more of an easy mode that's more conducive to exploring for special stage rings. But of course, we shouldn't just play the game a certain way because that's how the developers intended it. No, definitely not. Any person should play the game in the style that gives that individual player the most fun and enjoyment. First, it becomes impossible to take you seriously when you claim that this Sonic game is better than that Sonic game. You can't review a game without playing in this way for a while. You realize that most times you take a hit, it's for the simple reason that you went too fast. You kept your foot on the gas in a scenario where it was not safe to do so. Now, taking this into consideration might seem like a nuisance, as if that's just getting between you and that awesome Sonic speed. But actually, striking this balance between speed and platform and efficiency is at the essential core of what makes this a video game. It's one thing for the devs to give the protagonist incredible speed abilities, but the real magic comes when the player has to use those abilities purposefully. The idea is that cranking up to top speed should happen only in places you think it's warranted. A well-designed game punishes the player for maxing out this speed indiscriminately. The result of playing this way is that the speed you do successfully maintain is the result of your proficient platforming. Speed becomes a reward for your proficiency. This gives you a much better sense of participation, a gameplay experience with more exciting and memorable moments. It's only after you've grown extensive familiarity with the gameplay maneuvers and level layouts that you can conscientiously ramp up the speed with confidence. It's an amazing feeling once you start to get to that point, and yet the entire journey that gets you there is phenomenal too. The boss philosophy for years has been, try to hit the boss, and if you take a hit, use your blinking invincibility frames to bum rush the boss to get a hit or two with literally zero risk involved. So if you think about it, that's set up so that when you mess up and take a hit, you're not punished but actually rewarded with a zero risk free hit on the boss. That is an imbalanced incentive structure that turns an exciting battle into a semi-interactive cutscene. This playstyle makes each bout feel samey, sabotaging what could otherwise be countless hours of replayability and excitement. In addition to the fact that this method is just cheap. Like, imagine if you hit Eggman and then he exploited invincibility frames to hit you. That would be cheap and outrageous. But once you learn to dance with these bosses in earnest, an important objective emerges. Finish him off before the second attack cycle. This is particularly important when failing to do so leads to a time penalty, where you have to wait out attacks, during which Robotnik is inaccessible to hit. Carnival Night Boss is a high-stakes rapid-fire calisthenics test. With the Insta-Shield, you can quickly rack up 8 hits before the wait period of Eggman's electric pulse attack. It seems like cheating, but don't be surprised if you mess this up, because a lot can go wrong. You'll see. And make sure you have enough time left for that 8th hit, because if you're nearby when the electricity kicks in, you get stuck in its gravitational pull, which is a really cool high-stakes hazard, and changes your experience of the boss from a waiting game to a rapid-fire duel. Better and better at this level, it was so fun to discover ways you can skip spinning these blue vinyls. It's like solving a puzzle to find ways you can use your momentum to get through instead. This blue vinyl can be skipped by just running at a normal speed and using the 45-degree corner incline here to get a higher jump. And this sequence can be streamlined by holding left to keep your momentum, then jumping up to maneuver back to the platform. It's a philosophy that extends to other zones as well. It's true that the rappel lines in Sandopolis drag on for too long, but none of them are required to advance. Nor does the game force you to a worse path if you skip them. Same for the blocks you ride. None of them are required to advance. This one, for example, in the amount of time it takes to ride across, you could check Twitter. But if you just press the switch and do a spin dash, the ramp escorts you right up to that door. The light roller coasters in Death Egg can take a while, but most of them are skippable, and the mandatory ones are on the quick side. And the ones you do skip often involve a ground path with cool slopes and goodies instead. And in a way, me telling you these methods is a kind of spoiler, but the game is full of these opportunities that gradually reveal themselves over time as your proficiency grows. Even just the fact that this 30-year-old game even has things to spoil just shows that you have only experienced 25% of Sonic 3. Its design philosophy is not new. It was embedded even into the first game, like how jumping on the lava gondolas eventually clicks in your mind with the realization that you can use jumping momentum to clear the lava sequence entirely. Sonic 3 is full of moments like these, an aspect that Sonic Heroes level design also does quite well. But Marble Garden is a lightning rod of criticism, and King K hates Marble Garden. The idea that Marble Garden is too big does not hold up in the face of the time it takes to beat those levels once you've graduated from mellow mode to accomplish base proficiency in the game. King K regards the swinging spike balls as an unfair cheap shot that no one could anticipate on the first playthrough. But that's the thing, you're not actually supposed to know it was there the first time. It's a beginner's trap, especially when you're playing in 4x3. But the thing is, the dangers of the swinging ball traps are a logical component of the game's intended experience. See, because Genesis Sonic games were purposefully designed to be able to beat them in one sitting, so you can play the complete experience multiple times over time and gradually increase your proficiency. Now, it might sound tedious to have to start memorizing level layouts in order to know that you should hit the brakes for a spike ball that's coming up, but this is not the case. What you actually have to do requires no deliberate effort. You just learn by osmosis after many playthroughs. You absorb it over time naturally through the course of playing. After playing the game enough, you sort of develop a spider sense about when it's safe to go full tilt versus when you should modulate speed in anticipation of hazards. Like after playing Marble Garden enough times, there came a certain point where I get to this area and then I feel a sort of spider sense tingling. A metaphorical red cloud comes into my consciousness to say, hey, whoa, hold on. Now I don't know exactly what danger is right up ahead, but I know that there's something dangerous. So I ease up my speed a bit, play cautiously for a brief moment. It turns out, sure enough, there were 2 grasshoppers lying in wait. I didn't know that they were going to be grasshoppers, but I could feel that there was something coming. Over time, you gradually grow intimately familiar with the levels in this way, and it's a rewarding challenge to develop that proficiency with every play session. So each time the game gets you, that is not an occasion to get mad at the game for allegedly cheap obstacles. Rather, you have to look at Hirokazu Yasuhara and say, alright, you got me on this one, well done, but I'll get you next time. You get near the end of Marble Garden Act 2 with more than 100 rings, and you're making good time and riding a high, and you make a quick efficient maneuver to spin the blue vinyl and head up the stairs, and then you get hit by a secret spike badnik. All those rings, all those points, gone. Now, this is not some frustrating bullcrap moment. This is actually ideal evidence showing you that the game still has cool challenges to throw at you even this deep into your cumulative hours of gameplay. And you can take it to the next level awesome with purposeful use of the Insta-Shield. Is the Insta-Shield ability overpowered? I don't think so. I do know that it's very fun to use, and that I do make mistakes with it. So right there, those are 2 solid ingredients for a good time. The Sandopoulos badniks with the spiked lasso are pretty dangerous, but you can neutralize the threat by passing through without breaking stride. It makes you feel like James Bond combined with Marshall Falk. For the longest time at this part of launch base, I would always clumsily pause, wait for the swinging ball to pass, and even then sometimes I would find a way to mess up and fall to the lower area, which is exactly what happened in this clip toward the end of my launch base music theory video. Come to find out, you should just attack it right off the jump, penetrating its defenses with a quick insta-shield, and the momentum from the bounce takes you right up to the next platform. It can even get you to rethink the Big Arm's final boss as well. It's hilarious and awesome that your insta-shield is big enough to be able to hit Robotnik from above through this huge crown of spikes. As a kid, I didn't even know about the insta-shield because we got Sonic 3 used, and the insta-shield is not mentioned in the Sonic & Knuckles manual, which is a pretty outrageous thing to forget considering that Sonic & Knuckles is supposed to function as a fully standalone game. So now you can use the Insta-Shield a lot now to make up for my not being able to use it in the 90s and 2000s. It would be curious to have a coding expert examine the Retro Pathfinder engine to see exactly how much of a maneuverability increase there is. I noticed it immediately in Origins Sonic 1, and it may be even more pronounced in Origins Sonic 3. This is all to say that the net result is a trophy generation banquet, is where you realize that this game is what you make of it. Some of these springs are deviously placed and it's absolutely hilarious. When I smack into one, it's like I can see Hirokazu Yasuhara's face going ha ha, and